Hi. So I had a few ideas for the past few days, and I think I want to just talk about them or just express what I was thinking about. And uh, gosh, I don't even know where to begin because my brain, as soon as I want to talk about it, my brain's like getting all fuzzy and trying to make me not talk about it because it's good ideas, and that's what our brain does when it's trying to keep us from being seen. So that's the first thing. Um, so in previous videos, I've talked about how the twin flame journey brings you to being your best self, and how that manifested for me is one thing I wanted to discuss. And um, basically, what it did is it brought me to my truer self, which means I'm neurodivergent and I'm a cycle breaker, and I'm a mom of two girls. And the way I grew up, um, basically being raised by addicts and then losing them both by the time I was 19 years old, within 7 weeks of each other, pushed me into a life of patriarchy and survival. And on the surface, I looked successful in that, because I knew how to survive really well. And I was a pillar of strength for everybody externally. And I always looked okay on the outside, but on the inside, I felt very alone, lonely, fragmented, like not myself. And I remember being a kid, 5, 6 years old, and like singing to inanimate objects and like seeing faces and everything, and definitely having my undiagnosed neurodivergence at that time, my neurodivergence showing itself. And even at a young age, I knew that my parents were up to stuff. I had come across their drugs, found it on cutting boards when I was 5, 6 years old. Obviously didn't understand the depths of it, but understood something was definitely different or going on differently in my family. And being detained as a young girl in a probation office because my mother was picked up for violating parole, you know, all that stuff leaves an impact and teaches you like something is not correct, even if you don't have words for it. But underneath it all, underneath that mess of stuff, was me, this neurodivergent child. And losing my parents and having to pay for their drug addictions and the financial havoc that created, and then having to survive alone, and then being associated with them. You know, a lot of family members didn't want a lot of stuff to do with me. At least it always felt that way to me. Nobody ever really reached in and was like, hey, how are you? What do you need? I'm here for you. It's not to say that people haven't helped with me financially, but when I needed it, but it really never extended beyond that. It, with the exception of like 2 people, 2 extended family members. So anyway, being on this journey spiritually brought me to a place of surrender and allowing me to get in touch with who I really am inside, neurologically, and back to my heart, my truest self. And the fact of the matter is, I'm a cycle breaker. I see patterns like nobody's business. And because of that, I've been able to undo a lot of generational patterns. I'm a mom of 2 neurodivergent girls, and I want to say that because I always look normal on the outside, my girls, their neurodivergence has been questioned or looked at like it's not there either. But it's there. With Justin, he's neurodivergent as well, and I've spoken before in other videos about how there was betrayal between us, but there was also on his part a lack of intentionality, meaning he didn't intend to hurt me, and I understand that. He also wasn't intending to do anything with integrity, and he understands that. But with neurodivergence, there is a layer of not realizing things and not understanding the impact that you're having on other people or other things because you just are socially, missing that. And then you add in environmental factors and you get a whole bunch of hurt people from an action you didn't even realize was gonna blow their life apart. And that's what happened with Justin and I, with the betrayal. But the process of me becoming my more authentic self looks like a process on the external, looks like a process of really terrible undoing almost. Because at my height, I was a sales manager making 10 grand a month. And that's what it looks like in society when you're successful. But I was medicating my ADHD with a medication, with ADHD meds, prescribed to me. It's not like I was doing anything wrong, but that was wreaking havoc on my body. And I knew that it was. And I just kept taking it so I can keep working. And other meds don't really mix too well with me. They never did. I'm very sensitive to medications. And I was burning myself out. And I was also eating a lot of shit from people in a male-dominated career. And when I started to wake up more spiritually, back to who I am, more so I would say in 2024, and I started speaking up for myself, that's when, I was no longer palatable to the careers. And it was made sure that I was not kept through different avenues and different ways of being. So, life has kind of said to me, like, the way I used to do life isn't going to work anymore. And I have to be more myself and be more authentic. So, that's kind of what I've been trying to do. Because life just doesn't work anymore the same way. And the reality of the situation is who I had to become is not necessarily who I was meant to be. And it really looks on the surface like I fucked something up, or I fell from grace. But the reality is when I stopped being that pillar of strength and financial success and what the patriarchy expects, people fell away. And what's interesting on the flip side of that is that when I was successful, people didn't like that either, because then they couldn't rescue me anymore, or they felt threatened by the amount of money I was making, or I would catch attitudes, or I would get accused of thinking that I was better than them, or like whatever. So it was such a fucking, excuse my French, double-edged sword. But at my core, I am a really great mom. And again, before becoming who I was supposed to be, I never really understood moms and women who were like, well, I just want to grow up and be a mom. because I got so wrapped up in surviving and being somebody on the external that being a mom just like wasn't enough from my view. And it is enough. It is enough. The impact is huge. And it turns out like that's really what I'm best at. And because of what I learned in life, I have the ability to guide them really well and get them really educated about life and school education, like traditional education, and so much more beyond that. And that's a whole other thing. But I'm a super safe person because of the crap I went through. And I don't play games when it comes to my kids. And if anybody fucks with them, I don't play games with that. And I don't like it when kids are put in the middle of things, because I was a kid put in the middle of things. And I don't like it when kids' neurodivergence is ignored, because we're really preventing them from becoming their truest selves. So again, I just want to say, like, sometimes I still get caught up trying to be something, like on my page, like where I do spirituality and tarot. I love doing that, but sometimes that even comes from a place of me feeling like me just showing up and talking like this isn't enough. Like, I have to offer a product or offer a service or whatever, and that's very like ingrained conditioning and thinking from society, and it's still like a struggle. So sometimes I still wake up and like every day my body fights like just being me, because it's like I'm so conditioned to have to go be something or someone more than what I am. And the reality is I'm really compassionate, I'm really loving, I'm really protective, I am great at pattern recognition, I have a huge well of knowledge of life because of the things I've been through, and I can guide anybody through anything. I'm a life path 33, if that means anything to you. It's a master number. I'm a twin flame. Like, there's a lot of things that I bring to the table, and even me sometimes still struggles with feeling like I'm enough. And I know that I am. And it's just society makes us think that we're not, especially when we had everything society approved of, and we don't now. So I guess that's it. There'll be more to come on this, and if you're going through your own journey like this, just know you're okay, you're not alone. All right? Thanks for listening. Bye.